Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining our webinar today. I'm Benjamin from eTabs, and we're going to be talking about the use of automation in the context of reporting for market research and insights projects. We've been around for several years. Our whole specialty at eTabs is this back-end reporting process. So data visualization, online dashboards, interactive dashboards, and automated charting and reporting. And we've won a number of awards over the years, and one of which took us to Buckingham Palace, which was very nice. We're an international company headquartered in the UK, and we sort of provide client support across the globe and around the clock. So, any of these familiar to you? Hopefully we've put the bulk of COVID behind us, at least in the UK, and now that we're coming out of COVID, hopefully, many companies are telling us they're finding themselves with projects coming in, ongoing projects, new projects, but reduced resources. Either staff were furloughed or let go, or there's just difficulties getting projects done, or projects were cancelled, and therefore that's been affecting their bottom line. Clients are certainly asking for offering tighter margins because they're haggling down on costing or paring down requirements. And at the same time, clients and stakeholders are demanding more value for what they're giving, the business they're giving to their suppliers. So what I'd like to talk about today is how automation can really be a way forward to come out stronger and continue stronger from COVID and generally. So some of these painful impacts, you may well have experienced due to COVID or not, or just global downturn in business. It may therefore come as an initial shock to suggest that now would actually be a time to innovate. Innovation tends to cost money and also means introducing changes at a time when there's so much uncertainty. However, to survive this turmoil, we need to be like the chameleon that is constantly adapting to survive in an ever-changing environment. Automated reporting has long been perceived as taking heavy technical wizardry. It's no surprise then that many companies don't even consider dipping their feet into the water, and especially at a time like this when companies have all been struggling and may not think about proactively putting time and effort into innovation. However, innovating can mean huge cost savings and could well make the difference between keeping or losing a client or project, or the difference between becoming stale in a client's eyes or making tangible changes that will be mutually beneficial and promote you to being seen as their partner rather than just another supplier. And on the screen now, these are just some of the things that we're going to be talking about as methods to combat those issues. It's important to realize that there's so much more that can be done with the right tool than just, say, using an Excel macro to run off a lot of charts. And some people might default to that and sort of pay lip service to automation. Or they may be using an online analysis tool that offers rendering of those analyses rather than just into a series of numbers in a table, but into simple PowerPoint charts as an export. But what we're going to talk about today is automating client-ready reports with every level of detail fully automated. The optimum solution for automated NewMR and insights reporting, for example, can be built to handle variance in trackers or multi-market studies, to handle different brands or numbers of brands across time or across markets, show or calculate significance and stat testing, deal with low base conditions, or even write condition-based analysis text. If the solution can natively understand the actual language of market research data and the industry's reporting needs, then so much more detail can be automated. Let's have a look and see how we would consider fully automated reporting. I'll explain to you the concept that we work from. Basically, starting point would be typically crosstabs, anything in an Excel file, even or SPSS, SAB file, Quantum, WinCross, pretty much anything that's out there. Even interfacing with online dashboards and pulling data from them in order to do automated PowerPoint charting. And then alongside the data is what we call the all-important template. Now that template could be PowerPoint, it could be Excel, Word, it could be even Google Slides or Google Sheets. And essentially what we're going to be doing is a mail merge. And I'm using the mail merge as an analogy deliberately because in a mail merge, You design your template first in Word, and you want to now personalize the letters that come out of that template. So it could be an invitation to a post-lockdown barbecue event that you're throwing, and your letters want to be dear first name and have an address block on them and a salutation field. So you make it a nice looking invitation in Word, and then you hook it up using the mail merge function with your, let's say, contacts database. It might be in Excel, and Word will then merge all the names and addresses into your letters in order to give you a series of personalized letters. So it's the same principle. And then what we're saying is the whole design of your report, your deliverable, has already been done in PowerPoint, let's say. It's got all the types of charts. It's got all the types of logos, branding, nuances and formatting. Like, this is how you want your stat testing letters to appear. This is exactly where you want your branding for the different, the logos for the different brands appearing, and so on. And then what's missing is just the data for all of those objects. So what we're going to do is pull the data in from, like I said, from Excel, from the SPSS and so on, we're going to pull that data into the template, and then you're left with a PowerPoint template, a PowerPoint output, or like I said, Excel, Word, Google, and so on, that is fully, it's as if it had all been done by hand, but of course it was automated. So it's fully editable, fully populated, and then could be ready to give to a client, assuming no other changes are needed. I'll share with you an example of this in action now. So this is a multi-market project in PowerPoint. Just giving you a glimpse at the template slides now. So you can see they're all formatted in PowerPoint. And what we want is to now run this report across several markets. We'll just do France, Germany, Italy for now. And basically, it's running through each of them. You can see the first slides there being populated, the charts have come to life. You can see even brand logos are now appearing automatically in there, and the flag. We're showing significance testing. So you can see this is way more than just auto charting. That's why we like to call it sort of an auto reporting approach, because it's actually possible to get a control over every element that might be needed. It's now just doing the Germany report, same things. There are some slight differences between these countries as well, in that the top 3 competitors, of course, and this is all fictitious data, but the top 3 competitors differ from market to market, and therefore they're different logos, they're different rankings, and so on. That's Germany finished, and now on to Italy. And it's doing these in succession, so I'm not actually clicking on anything in between. We sort of set it up as a loop to go through all the different countries. That'll be finished in a moment. You can see the NPS scores there as well, and color coding on the various numbers in the tables. Okay, let's have a look at all 3 of those now, side by side, and we can see the subtle differences in the populated outputs. So there's Germany. I'll show you side by side in a moment. Germany, France, Italy. There we go. And you can see the different brands and the logos appearing and so on. This slide here, for example, we set up to automatically replicate across different brand attributes. There you go. And everything in those decks is still fully editable, so you can click on the charts, make changes if you want to, change the chart types, change the data if you need to, change labels, and so on. So if you're still hand typing numbers into PowerPoint decks or into Google Slides, then now's certainly the best time to invest in automated charting and reporting. No matter what quantitative project type you're doing, your low-hanging fruit will definitely be trackers or multi-market projects where there's a fairly consistent template which can be auto-populated. Our belief, however, is that we should always be on the lookout for automating wherever possible. That automation doesn't have to mean all or nothing. I think that it's really a fallacy where often somebody says, oh, we've got a tracker, but it changes 20, 30% wave on wave questions changing, so it's not worth automating. And we'll say, well, why do you say that? Why are you assuming it's not worth automation? You've got, let's say, 70% static. It doesn't change much from wave to wave. Let's just automate 70% if that's the case, and go ahead and do your manual changes to only 30% of the deck. So it doesn't have to mean all or nothing. So even if you have a tracker with variance, where some questions change over time, or a multi-market project where the brands themselves or the number of brands each time may change between markets, it's always worth automating as much as possible. We just love this challenge of dealing with change and showing how we can find a way to maximize the automation. And I suggest that you should attune yourself to be on the lookout for opportunities. Maybe adjust your concept, add, or copy test template so it can be more cookie cutter. Consider adding value to a syndicated study where, for very little extra effort, each subscriber can now get a deck that is tailored to their branding or pays attention to their brand over the other brands covered in the study. Like I mentioned earlier, it's those small things that can make all the difference to a relationship. So invest more today and secure that client relationship or the project tomorrow. It's also relevant to customer sat, employee sat studies where it is the same template, the same report that has to be created across 500 stores, let's say, or 20 departments, and therefore make it more templatable and reap the benefits of being able to automate it. So what about ad hoc? I'm often asked if there's any mileage to be gained with auto charting, a purely customized ad hoc project. So of course, the whole principle of automation is to take a process that's repeated and then find a way to automate those repetitive tasks. And by its very definition, a project that's ad hoc in nature isn't something that is necessarily templated or templatable. However, being that I believe so strongly in applying automation wherever possible, I like to take a step back and analyze any deliverable. For instance, are there patterns in the slides? Could the same set of slides be repeated across categories? Or would it help the researcher if they could maybe start their reporting process with a pre-processed, automatically generated chart deck, and then they can cherry pick the ones they want for their story? Regardless of project types, there are two other strategic benefits to invest in automated charting. The first being accuracy. So even if we're not talking about completely hands-free reporting, the fact that you can be confident with data being pulled into your charts directly from your data tables is huge. And finally, an incredible yet often overlooked benefit of automation is that projects can be set up on interim or dummy data. And then when the final data is released, you can update an entire deck of slides within minutes. That's great when you're going to be up against the clock in order to deliver accurate reports to a client under pressure. I also sometimes call this the insurance policy, protecting you against those awkward moments when you've spent an entire night keying in numbers by hand for a client presentation the next morning, only to discover an email from DP saying, "Oops, I used the wrong weighting. Sorry about that. Please use this file instead." And you've, of course, spent the whole night typing in the wrong numbers. Now, of course, this has never happened before. It's totally hypothetical, but it's good to be prepared. Automation can even deal with the trickier aspects of reporting and this need nowadays for more visual representations of data, whether it's word clouds or picture graphs or making icons filled with color or sized based on value. So the data can be driven into those just in the same way as it's driven into PowerPoint charts. So the bottom line, how can investing in innovation and innovative reporting translate into profit? So one, I would say leverage technology to reduce your cost of reporting. Your profit's not coming from the actual reporting. Your key value is not the reporting. It's what you report. It's how you report. It's the insights that you add. So once the headache and the onus of reporting is transferred from your fingers, you'll have both the time and the headspace to utilize your analytical skills to dig for additional and more deeper insights. Thirdly, you can seize new tangible revenue generating opportunities. For example, if field work is monthly, but reporting was only just about manageable quarterly, then consider automated charting and offer monthly reporting for very little extra effort and certainly very little extra cost. So that offer doesn't go down well with your clients. Quite frankly, I'd be shocked. Fourth point, So manual reporting not only costs you valuable time, but is prone to error. By reporting directly from the source data itself, you're reducing the chance for typos and inaccuracies. You and your clients will have more confidence in the data that's being reported. Smaller companies in particular can begin to now consider pitching on larger, more complex projects they would otherwise never have attempted or dreamt of attempting and pitching on due to lack of resources. So it really does open up these new opportunities. And with the cost of reporting reduced and these new channels for revenue generation, then your profit margins can be increased. In summary then, innovation in reporting has many strategic benefits. It gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better and you can do more of it. It gives you ways to generate more revenue and maintain or grow profits. It strengthens client relationships. You'll be partnering with your clients and moving ahead rather than just doing the same thing as you've been doing till now and expecting a different outcome. And finally, even staff appreciate it. Instead of exercising their fingers, they can exercise their minds. It's less stressful too. And their increased job satisfaction will translate into a happier team and company. I've seen this time and time again with clients reporting this sort of hidden benefit of staff satisfaction once projects get automated. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope you found it helpful and thought-provoking. Here are my contact details if you have any questions, and I'm more than happy to help you. And any questions?